Joining me now in this special broadcast for Australian Property Investor magazine, Shannon Davis, who is the owner-operator of a rental company in Brisbane called Image Property Management. Shannon, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no worries, Kevin.
A good read in the latest edition, the October edition of Australian Property Investor magazine, about, well, what I would consider a fairly gutsy sort of purchase, Shannon. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Yeah. The API article, very good one too, I might add, chronicles your first, well, I guess it was in one line purchase. Would you consider buying a property in that way again, and why? Maybe just before you tell me that, can you just give me an overview of what the property is?
Yeah, it's a block of 5 flats in New Farm, and it is in one line, but they are individually strated. So while it's an in-line purchase, there is the option to sell out individually.
The New Farm market, of course, a lot of publicity about that's a pretty hot little area. Were you buoyed by the fact that it's performed so well in the New Farm area?
Yeah, I watched New Farm during the GFC, and I think it slowed down the least, and it was the first sort of suburb to pick up again, and I think that's from the high levels of owner occupier, and also interstate investors usually like interstate people moving usually like the cafe culture of New Farm, so it always has a high demand for the area.
We'll talk a little bit about how you purchased it, but would you do it again?
Yeah, definitely. I went along to the auction not with the really intention of buying, just more for market research. But I saw it was at a pretty big discount to the area. I believe most two bedrooms in New Farm go between 370 to 450, and on that day they were selling for about 280,000
Each.
each.
Yeah. And you said, I think there were five in line. Is that right?
5 in line, but the other thing, just wanting to have a property with a twist, is one of the 3 bedroom units is actually it's actually two bedroom units if you take the internal stairs out, and that would be the best way of realising equity and yield by reverting that back to a six pack.
Well, you made a quick profit, of course, albeit on paper, but you made a very quick profit on that purchase. But there are some risks involved in doing that, Shannon, aren't there?
Oh, definitely. I think when you purchase all in one line, you've got more eggs in one basket, and you're tied to a suburb perhaps more than if you bought just one singular unit. New Farm did have some flooding in the last previous floods as well, so they're all things that you need to take into account.
Well, given the fact that you went along to the auction not intending to buy, you would have had to rely a lot on your own local knowledge there if you were going to commit at an auction.
Yeah, definitely. It's 2K from the city centre. It's very popular with young professionals, which is a demographic that I like to rent to. I believe they have the most disposable income and they like the cafe culture. And a high percentage of their income goes towards renting and being close to the CBD. And for those factors, yeah, I was comfortable with the purchase.
So what are your plans for the complex now?
I immediately would be to try and separate that 3 bed to two bedrooms and get the appropriate planning, town planning done for that to happen. And then from there, just cosmetic, maybe a render to the front, some maybe cantilevered balconies, and just a spruce up of painting and carpeting in the bedrooms.
Yours is a very interesting story too, Shannon, I think, isn't it? Before you actually established or purchased the Image Property Management business, you were an investor in your own right. Why did you take that step? Why did you move into property management?
Oh, because I just felt that investors were being let down with a lack of expertise or empathy in the rental side of things. I think there's always people that are happy to take your money when it comes to buying or selling a house, but it's harder to get that service in the rental side of the transaction. So for me, I've always wanted to be a property manager, but first and foremost, I'm an investor. And if I can help with my expertise or my attention to detail and help people with their holding costs, which is a challenge for any property investor, then I believe my job's done.
Tell me, what advice would you have for any investor who wants to do something similar to what you did?
Oh, well, with the inline purchase, if it's a block of units, then definitely you've got a lot more money involved. You need to check out the structures and the area that you're going to be signing up to, and things like vacancy and be across your details. With myself, I've got a lot of new farm property, and I know that there's very little downtime. I've got a lot of new farm property in our portfolio, and I know that there's very little downtime between vacancies, and that's why I was prepared to take that risk.
What do you see as the biggest challenge, I guess, that investors face when they're looking at buying properties like the one you've just purchased?
I think with any investor at the moment, it's increasingly it's government charges and insurances, and I think we're all quite adept at maintaining our property, improving our properties, and finding tenants. But it seems that there's disproportionate increases to government charges and insurance premiums that make life tougher for the holding costs of the investor.
Have you ever considered boarding houses? Because I know in that new farm area there are a number of boarding house facilities.
Yeah, I do manage some boarding houses. They do get more of a premium because of the short-term nature of the rental side of things. There is a higher vacancy and a higher turnover, and also some of the demographics it attracts. It can lead to a lot of issues and stress for the investor.
What about insurance? Because I know at one stage it was very difficult to get insurance for boarding houses.
Oh, most difficult thing to insure, definitely, and I think boarding houses and backpackers, and so that's something the investor needs to take into account for their holding costs.
And your strategy, is it a one of buy and hold, or are you looking at moving some of your stock on?
No, I'll buy and hold, definitely. I believe new farm appreciates at a higher rate, typically if a property appreciates at 7%, I believe I can get something a bit better than 7% per annum with an area such as new farm. But I would like to make that conversion from a 3-bedroom into a 2-bedroom quickly, and take some of the equity out of the project to move on to the next one.
Well, where is the next one? Have you got one in line?
Oh, just anywhere that's close to employment, close to shops and infrastructure, and that I believe's got good prospects for the future.
And you're constantly looking to grow your portfolio?
Yeah, definitely. I believe sometimes when there's an opportunity there, you've got to take that. If you always wait for all the boxes to be ticked, tomorrow never comes. So, that opportunity there came probably a little bit before I was ready, and I was going on a holiday as well. But you can't turn down an opportunity when you see it.
Shannon, I want to thank you for giving us your time. Congratulations on what you're doing, and also with your business as well. And we wish you well and look forward to talking to you again soon.
No problems. Anytime, Kevin.